My world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say I am what I am.
I'm joined today by what I'm going to be calling a modern love story. So welcome to LGBTQ Life, Aaron and Mike.
Hey, how you going? How are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Aaron, I'm going to start with yourself. How did you guys meet? Because I can hear from Mike's accent. He's not a local, but I can hear from yours you are.
Yeah, so look, I'm an Irish lad. I'm from Waterford, but I live in Dublin now 8 years. So I actually met Mike. I was actually working over in New York. It was about oh God, it was about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I went over working and doing, I suppose, the Irish thing as you do, and just having a good time, making the best of it. And then I suppose I just ran into Mike and we started chatting. And to be honest,
not quite ran into, but
had the hookup apps, so Grindr came in handy there.
Yeah.
But we got chatting, we met, and instantly hit it off. I mean, to be honest, like looks wise, he was the person I looked for. So
yeah.
Happy days there. I wasn't going over when I was working in America. I wasn't going over obviously with the intentions to have anything serious with anyone. It was just more about having a good time, doing the Irish thing, going over, having a good time, working hard, and doing what we do. But like, to be honest with you, I just I fell head over heels for him, and it really was something different. Like,
yeah, it's what we call creating our mythologies along the way, so that we'll have something to pass. Aaron, I'm sorry, Mike. Aaron. If I saw him in the street, I would say that's a man who would be a contender in any James Franco lookalike contest. When you saw him first, what was your first impressions?
Well, first of all, you know what? I mean, we were texting. So my first impression was he had a great sense of humor, and so that had me going. And then, when he came over, I'd say within 15 minutes, he had, I just saw he had like 8 or 9 of the qualities I always look for in somebody. I mean, he was adventurous, he was brave, he was funny, he was smart, he was empathetic, so within like 15 minutes, I was taken. It really was.
Had you been single for long at that stage, Aaron, or without prying too much?
I know. So I was single, I'd say properly single for about 2 years. But I mean, to be honest, before Mike, the longest relationship I was in was a year. That was actually serious. So I suppose when that ended, I really wasn't looking for, not that I wasn't looking for anything serious. I just never thought something serious would come along my way. I kind of accepted, I suppose sometimes it's kind of like a gay mentality. I don't know. I just was like, I was trying to just live life in a sense, as cliche as that is. To be honest, but and then he just came along.
Yeah. Mike, you and I, we're roughly speaking the same generation, just from reading QueerDaze. You and I would remember the 70s. Do you? And as I say, we probably have great memories of the 70s. And the one thing that sprung out from your memories was lewds. I mean, we used to have the same things here, but they were called mandrakes, and then they made them illegal. But as you progress through the decades, and are the 70s still your favorite, or do you find life gets better as we go along?
No, I think the more you learn, the better life gets. I mean, and the more experiences you have. So, I mean, as much as I love the 70s and, but I mean, it just gets better and better. And if you ask me, if I ever, I mean, I'm the happiest I've ever been, I mean, I can't imagine it gets better every day. I mean, obviously, it's because of Aaron, but I mean, I just think I'm the luckiest person in the world and nobody could be as happy as I am.
Well, isn't that reassuring to know? I have to admit, I love the 70s, but I really loved the 90s. I thought that was just a phenomenal period, even though I was in my 50s at that stage. But yeah, Aaron, when you met Mike, I'm presuming at that stage, at some point down the track, you had to go back to Ireland. That you were on you weren't on a permanent resident visa or anything like that. Was that the situation, and was that a difficult wrench to at the time, knowing you possibly would have to go back on your own?
Yeah, look, 100%. I went over with the intentions. I was working. It was like strictly for work. I had a brilliant time, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, I fell head over heels for Mike. It was something very out of the ordinary, me falling for a guy, the way I felt for him. And to be honest, it wasn't meant to happen. It was a very strange thing. But I always knew that I had to go back. So it wasn't a thing to me where I was like, I don't know, it wasn't like this big like goodbye story that we'll never see each other again. But I didn't think it was as serious as it was at the time. I suppose, like, I mean, I really liked this guy. I mean, I never felt the way I did before about someone like this, but I knew I had to go back. So I didn't think it was going to evolve. I mean, I was being realistic at the time. I mean, like, I wasn't going to make up a fairy tale in my head. I didn't think I was going to see him again, to be honest. So I came back, and I wasn't expecting more of it. But I mean, it was more that when I came back and I realized that, I met other guys, I continued life. But I started to realize, I suppose, that I never felt the way I felt about a man, the way I felt about him. So it started to dawn on me, I suppose, that God, that was something more than just, I knew I liked him, but I mean, like, I had such much stronger feelings. It kind of took hold, and like it took I mean, he just constantly was in my head. It was constant, like, I couldn't leave something that maybe this is something more. So, I mean, then it was like a few months later, I had to text him and see how he was, if everything was good. It was a strange feeling to me, to be honest. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Sure. Yeah. Mike, I'm going to come to yourself. Back in the day when you and I were Aaron's age, it was quite common to play for both teams, as we say. Was that your experience as well?
Yeah,
or at least to appear to play for both teams.
Yeah, no, it's funny because we haven't posted it yet, but I just wrote a new blog, and it's called "My Days as Double Agents." And so I honestly, until I was about 40, I was going back and forth. But I mean, I knew by the time I was 21, I was gay, but I tried to, talk myself out of it, and say I could marry a woman and this and that. And then I decided when I was probably about 33 that I knew in my head I was gay, but I still decided to play it straight. And it took me basically till I was 40 to really decide, well, I got to be, true to myself. And until I'm true to myself, I'm never going to be myself and have, be able to live life as happy as I could possibly be.
Yeah. Was that a major decision in itself, or did you move when you made that decision?
No, no, it came very slowly. And I guess, it basically, officially came out when I was seeing somebody and I really thought I loved them. And, I was just actually going to a friend's house and I said, look, I want to bring somebody I'm seeing, and, he said, fine. And I guess that was kind of my official coming out. It just, for whatever reason, it was time, and it felt good.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you this, and Aaron, you're what we would call an LGBT native, in the sense that you could come out at 18 or 16 years of age, and you never had to go through the struggles that people of our generation did. Can you relate to Mike's experience, or is that completely foreign to your background?
Like, to be 100% honest, I don't think I'll ever be able to fully relate to the way he can relate to it. And I mean that in the most nicest way. I mean, I wasn't brought up in the 70s through the crisis. And like, so I can relate to it in a certain way that I'm sympathetic and I can understand. But I mean, it's a whole lot different than living through it, than just hearing about it. So, I mean, no, I honestly don't think I can relate to the same circumstance as what he went through. I mean, on my own experience, I found it quite difficult, I suppose, because I lived this very countryside straight mentality. But no, I couldn't even compare the two. I mean, like, I suppose the funny side of it is like I'm 27 and I've been out in the Dublin scene for quite a number of years. Like, I mean, I never felt the need to hide myself, but I was actually never out. I just realized people in Dublin don't know me. I'm from Waterford, or so it was a bit of a different thing for me. So I never actually officially came out to people until Mike proposed to me, to be honest. And then I was like, Jesus, I better, you know, come out to people just to like let people know, you know.
It's funny, he had to tell his mother he was getting married to a man and to a much older man all in the same breath. You know.
Well, I'll come to that one. No, the reason why I ask Aaron is because I think it was 2013. I went to a conference in Waterford, and it was a trans conference, interestingly enough. I don't know if you know Vanessa Lacey. Vanessa's a good friend of mine. And when I went there that time, I would have seen rural Ireland. It's probably a bit, shall we say, questionable. But I was very surprised. Waterford was very accepting at the time. So what I saw, I was very surprised, and I welcomed a lot. But coming back to what Mike said, there is an age difference. Let's not pretend there isn't. What was your mother's reaction? And I'll ask you the same question, like, not about what your mother's reaction, but what friends and acquaintances were when they saw the age difference.
Like, I mean, I honestly still am very surprised of the reaction, because I mean, I myself know, like, I know being gay is hard enough. No one needs to make it harder on themselves. Like, I don't choose anything. Like, I mean, it's not a choice. Whoever says anything like that is absolutely nuts. But like, I'm into older. Like, I love Mike. I just love it. Like, so when I was telling her, like, I think so. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, look, your mother knows." I mean, to be honest, I don't think my mother did know. Like, to be honest, like, she really didn't. She took it, like, I can't believe, immensely well. Like, she didn't second guess it or anything. I think she realized that, look, a lot of people go through a lot of struggles in life, and do you know what? Sometimes it's not easy. And like, she's seen me growing up. She's seen the good times. She's seen the bad times. I think she was more just happy that she could see and she could hear that I was actually happy. So I think that was the big thing. Like, to be honest, I was expecting a lot more negative feedback from my friends, from my mother, but like, I was blown away by it wasn't even like questioned. I mean, it was just from the get-go, "Oh, I'm so happy for you. Like, I want to meet him. I want to get to know him." And it was just, I was blown away.
So you didn't get any of the tearful Irish mother of, "Oh, I'm not going to have the grandchildren," or anything like that at all?
No, I didn't get that now, but you know, that's what I felt when I was telling her. I felt like, oh, I was leaving her down, I suppose, to be honest. I felt that because, so we haven't written about this yet in the blog, but it will be soon. So I actually have a gay brother.
He has one sibling.
I have one sibling.
I was going to ask you.
So so I mean, one of the big things for me was I thought that I was leaving her down in that regard. But I mean, look, it's just another thing we have to deal with. But I mean, she's been amazing. I can't give her enough praise.
Yeah, Mike, you've moved to Ireland. Was that the obvious choice, or could you have had the same relationship if Aaron had have moved to the US, or was this the obvious one to do?
You know, when I came here in March, I came here to visit him in March, and I never thought.
I presume that's March last year, 2020. Yeah.
Pandemic. So I never imagined that we'd be getting married. But you know, when we decided to get married, you know, I'm able to work wherever I am.
Okay.
You know, Aaron's getting his career, and I just told him, you know, I'll go anywhere you want to go. You know, that's fine. I work from anywhere you're starting your career. I've done it, you know, and I could do it from anywhere. So whatever you like.
Yeah. And Can I presume you got married in Ireland, or did you get married in the US? Mm-hmm.
No, we haven't been able to leave. We had been in Ireland. We've been inside for the last year.
So I read. Yes. How has that been? Because it's almost like house arrest, isn't it?
You know what? I mean, I would say maybe now we're getting antsy, but really, I mean, so few times we escaped a bit. I mean, a few times we were able to get out, to the countryside and stuff. But, we took a lot of walks in the park and stuff. But, we spent so much time, really, godsend, just getting to know each other. I mean, we spent hours and hours just, Aaron had a flatmate, in his old place. And, we just spent hours and hours and hours in his room just talking about everything. And we really got to know each other. Probably better than most people ever do, I would say.
Basically, the LGBT scene in Ireland has been in hiatus for the last 18 months or so. Are you looking forward to experiencing that, Aaron, or have you had a chance to get out and see some of the places?
Aaron's done it. I haven't.
Sorry, no, I meant you, Mike. Apologies. No,
I'm excited to see Dublin come alive and see what's going on. I've heard about it, but I haven't really seen much.
Well,
we were out we were out for Pride, so we went to Panty for Pride, and I mean it was just really good. It was so good to see the familiar faces, and I mean it was just, it felt like so long. Like honestly, I can't believe how long it's been. So I've been dying to go out. I've been dying to see people. I've been dying to just go to the bars, have a drink, and just have a laugh. And to be honest, just introduce, there's so many people I still need to introduce Mike to. He's only met a handful of people, and he's only had a small taste, I suppose, of what Dublin in the gay community has to offer in the scene.
Because obviously at this point in time, because it's been shut down for the last 2 years, Mike has yet to march in Pride.
We hope to lead the parade next year.
Well, my experience when I came back here from Australia in the mid-90s, and you've got a huge scene in Sydney. And when I came back here, Dublin, the scene was very much like a village, and I really liked that because, as I said to people at the time, the lesbians and the gay men talked to each other, which was unheard of in Australia at the time. So I'm hoping that you'll like it anyway, Mike. It's as I say, it's probably different to what you know, but it ultimately is very welcoming. You guys, you got married in, I gather, last October. Is that correct?
Yep.
And you were able to get married in Dublin, or was it in Waterford?
No, it was in Dublin. At first, we were planning. Thought we'd be able to have a wedding with 25 people. So we kind of planned that. I mean, which because no one from the States could come, so it was just Aaron's family. And then 2 weeks before, they did another lockdown. It was only 6 people. So we did the whole thing over again, and we were lucky enough to be able to do it with just his mom and his dad and his brother.
Well, you must be due a big party once all of this is over. And I also gather you've both been fully vaccinated, which I got to ask you, Aaron, how is that? Because I'm 70 and I've only got one vaccine at this stage.
Luck.
Right to be able to start living life again, I can't, honestly, so I'm back in work, I suppose, full time. And I was working from home for the last number of months. And I mean, it's just good to start seeing some familiar faces and work again. But I think everyone must have this cagey feel that they just want to do stuff and go out and meet people. It's this whole angst that's building up in people. So I consider myself really lucky that I have it out of the way. And I think Mike is as well. And, I'm definitely feel like I'm one of the lucky ones anyway.
Yeah. Mike, I was reading that you're looking forward to traveling, and like myself, I think you agree. One of the great things about Dublin is it's near places. And you were saying there's several places you're looking forward traveling to. Sitges is one, Mykonos is another, and Paris. I was a bit surprised you didn't put Amsterdam there. Have you been?
I actually have spent way too much time in Amsterdam.
And Berlin is another one. That's
Berlin I've been, but Amsterdam just too much time. Berlin I would love to go back to.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's only basically it's only a hop, step, and a jump to London as well.
I mean, no, it's incredible. I mean, especially because I said, New York to California is 5 hours. I mean, it just
sure. Yeah. Well, it's if there's one place I could recommend, the last time before lockdown, I went to Sicily, and I thought it was absolutely fabulous. So it's not a gay paradise, but it's a fabulous place as well. But look,
it doesn't have to be a gay paradise for us, and we'll be in it soon.
But look, you put it this way: you get a whole new lease of life, Mike. It's all of those places. But can we talk about QueerDaze? This is a blog that you guys have set up. Tell us, what's the thinking behind it, and who is it aimed at?
So I suppose we started QueerDaze, the blog. We started in March, and it mainly came around, I suppose, because look, we were stuck inside a lot, and we wanted something to do together. But I think the main thing behind it is because both of us, when we were talking, we kind of agreed that, like, I would have loved to have read something like this when I was growing up, because obviously me being into older, I never thought it was actually realistic to have a relationship with an older man, we'll say. I thought it was just, you can have fun with an older man, but it wasn't going to lead anywhere. And I think we just wanted to show, like, a real view of, like, real life experiences that, I mean, like, as cliche as this going to sound, is love, but is it like, actually an inside view of that is like, I mean, it can happen, but we don't want to give just the stereotypical views. We want to give a real view of what life is like, that it can happen, that, like, don't be afraid to be who you are. Don't be afraid to like who you like. And I suppose it's taken us both a long time to come out of our shells. And I mean, honestly saying this, we've both been just through the roof of happiness, like, the last while.
Sure.
We're trying to give a different view of, I suppose, to what is actually out there at the moment. I mean, so it's kind of we're trying to give our own opinion on it as well, and just our own view.
No, we're just trying to be honest about ourselves and who we are.
Sure. Yeah. When I look at it, you've had picks of the week, if I'm correct, and you've done movies, you've done music. Do you find your taste differ in that, or do you learn from each other in that regard?
I'd say we're always learning from each other, and it's nice because I could turn Aaron onto movies he'd never even consider watching, and and he turns me onto music and stuff, and it just. But it's not like you got to listen to this. It just kind of happens. It's like osmosis almost. It just kind of rubs off on each other, and it's nice.
Yeah. Do you not find that, particularly yourself, Aaron? Mike probably has an encyclopedic knowledge of music. He probably has favorite tunes in this decade and that decade, whereas yours would probably be a great deal more recent. How do you relate to that? Do you see that as a learning experience, or can at times it be alienating?
Well, look, to be 100% honest, I think one thing that is quite good is that he absolutely loves 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, well, 60s, 70s, 80s music. And I actually quite love that as well. So that's something we quite enjoy together as well. I mean, literally, on any morning, you can hear us blaring the radio, and it's pretty much the same music. So it's kind of good. I can't disagree in that regard.
Yeah. Well, the interesting one as well, and this is where there's a slight difference comes in. I'm guessing, Aaron, you're not probably, Mike, you're probably a bit slower as a dancer than you were maybe 10, 15 years ago.
A bit slower, and I've never been a good one, but I beg you to teach me. Yeah, he's a great dancer. I could just lay in bed and watch him. I mean, that's I love to watch him dance.
Well, one can understand. Yeah. The other aspect as well is that I'm presuming you've probably got more time at home, like because Aaron was saying to me he's working most days. Does that cause any friction, or does that cause any tension at all?
No, I mean, of course I miss him, but it's nice. I mean, he's only been back at work 2 weeks, but I figure, once things get going, there's some classes I'd like to take and stuff. But I said, it's funny. we started, going out. It's nice because, I have a lot more time and I can help him with a lot of things.
Indeed.
And I'm able to, do, a lot of stuff around here that needs to be done or something. So it's not, and therefore we get more time together than if we were both working 8 or 9 hours a day, had to come home and do all this stuff. So, it works out nice.
Yeah, and how about the cultural change? Because I know what it's like to live in different countries, and it's particularly challenging when you're above a certain age. How have you found moving to Ireland? Because clearly, it's a different culture in that regard.
No, the move has been seamless, but it is a different culture. But the only thing I miss, you know what, my family and friends, you could talk to, as often as I want. I'm not, but being from New York and LA. You know what? I'm spoiled, and I just miss getting what I want when I want. But you know what? I'm getting used to it, and I would never. You know what? Aaron makes up for everything. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. And the obvious question to ask you is, which of you does the cooking?
You know what? It's funny. Aaron's a better cook, but I don't know. It probably, you know what? We never say you cook, you cook. It kind of just evens out.
Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of the chores, it's just, we've never said you do this, I do this. It's just it's worked itself out, but he's a great cook.
Yeah.
I look in the refrigerator and I see nothing to eat. And, he'd say, what's for dinner? I go, there's nothing in there. Within 5 minutes, he opens the refrigerator and makes a great meal.
Yeah, well, in many respects, you're fortunate because had you come here 20 years ago, it was very difficult to buy things, whereas now,
I find it the same way today.
Yeah.
They're telling me it's the supply chain has been ruined because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But we'll see if it gets better.
Yeah. Do you miss any of your favorite foods or anything like that?
Stupid things like what do I miss? Hot tamales, but you can get them at Fresh or Twizzlers. Just inconsequential things. Yeah. I do miss, my one great miss is Costco. Do you know Costco?
I don't know. Tell me, what is that?
It's just like a huge store that has the best meats, best produce, best electronics. You buy a membership for like $50 a year, and it's just fabulous. I can't wait to bring Aaron there when we go to the store. Yeah. But,
well, basically, from what you've told me of where you live, you're very close to Lidl and you're very close to Aldi. So, what more can you say? You're hoping, as we say, to go traveling. Have you been given a date on that? Can you go now because of the as we say, the so-called passport?
We should be able to go everywhere. For Spain, we've already registered, and then 2 days before you put in your barcode or something, and the same for Greece. And, I imagine the same for France. So I'm not even that worried. I hope, if things keep getting better, there should be no problem at all.
Sure. Yeah.
I hope not, because I've already bought our tickets for the States for next March.
Okay. Have you taken him to Waterford, Aaron? I mean, it's a small city, but a nice place. I enjoyed Waterford the last time I was down there.
Oh yeah, sure. We've been down to my family for Christmas, and we've been down there. We've been down 2 or 3 times now. Yeah. So he's met most of my friends down there, and he's met most of my family. And I'd like to show him more of Waterford, to be honest. We've been busy pretty much when we're down there. We've been pretty much busy with the family and friends, but I actually want to show him the county itself, because there's loads to do down there. Like, it's a great place, and I kind of just want to get him to see that.
Can I ask you both, because it's been in the news quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, the burning of the flags in Waterford. How did you feel about that? Did that sound out a warning or send out a signal for you?
To be 100% honest, just taking it back to where I'm from, say Abbeyside, Dungarvan, a lot of my friends, when I came out, they were like so good. And sometimes it's a roughish area, but it's a lovely area and everyone is so nice. So I was a bit surprised by it, to be honest. Because when I'm down there, I never see, I suppose, that kind of hate, if I'm being honest. But to me, this hate is always done when it's not seen. It's hidden behind things, and I personally think it's something done that is done in the darkness, that they wouldn't do it in the public and they wouldn't do it in front of people. My experience of Waterford is brilliant. It was horrible. I think people think they have they just jump on the bandwagon of like, we had the whole issue in Dublin with them writing on the wall.
Sure.
And then they're trying to do it in Dublin or in Waterford, sorry. And look, I think it just makes us stronger together as a group.
Mm-hmm. I have to admit, I was shocked because that's not my experience of Waterford. It's not my recollections of Waterford. I'm going to put this one to Mike because it's probably early days yet, but where Aaron comes from, they're very big on a game called hurling. Has he taken you to see a game yet?
No, he's a big soccer fan. We haven't seen.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll be looking forward to my first hurling match. I've heard.
Yeah. Well,
my grandfather was a hurler, wasn't he?
Yeah. So my great grandfather actually would have been Austin Flynn. So he would have been the last captain of Waterford to win the All Ireland.
That's probably before I was born. Yeah, no, Waterford.
It's amazing things happened before we were born. You know?
Yeah. No, they were traditionally a very strong hurling team and quite a good soccer team as well. If I remember, when I was growing up, Waterford were a Premier Division team in those days. Yeah. Guys, I'm going to have to let you go, but it's been a delight to talk to you. But before we go, can you tell people how they can become a subscriber to QueerDaze so that we can get the message out there to more people? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like the website is called QueerDaze and it's free to subscribe. And then we also have our Facebook page, QueerDaze, and our Instagram is @QueerDaze. Mm-hmm. And we'd love to keep you all the content. We're trying to keep weekly content. And we want to keep you all engaged. And definitely check it out.
Yeah. No, I've certainly read it, and I could recommend it to everybody. It's a wonderful addition to Irish LGBTQ media. So, congratulations on that one. And I gather we're going to be getting some interesting stuff from Mike about his biography as the weeks progress. Yeah.
Well, Michael, it's great to meet you.
You too, guys. Well, we'll catch up again when I get my second jab, but it's been a delight to talk to you, and it's been a very positive story that we'll be putting out today. So, Aaron and Mike, delight to meet you, and take care. Mm-hmm.
You too. Love to meet you.
That I want to have a little pride in, my world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say I am.